There was a road on the outskirts of town that most people never noticed. It didn't have streetlights or smooth pavement, and it certainly didn't lead anywhere exciting, at least not on a map. It ran past an abandoned rail yard, through a stretch of wind-bent trees, and ended at a chain-link fence with a view of nothing but open sky. People drove around it without a second thought. But every morning at 5:12 a.m., Daniel walked it. Daniel was the kind of man you'd pass in a grocery store and forget 5 seconds later. Early 30s, average build, quiet eyes. He worked nights stocking shelves at a big box store, slept during the day, and walked that forgotten road before dawn. Not because it was scenic, but because it was empty. No traffic, no questions. No looks that said, "You should be further along by now." 5 years earlier, Daniel had been laid off from an engineering job he thought would be his forever. The company downsized. His department disappeared. "It's not personal," they said. It felt personal. The savings ran out. Interviews went nowhere. Friends drifted into their own lives, posting promotions and weddings online while Daniel learned how to stretch a dollar and swallow pride. Loneliness isn't loud, he learned. It doesn't shout, it sits beside you and waits. On that road, Daniel listened to audiobooks borrowed from the library app biographies of people who failed spectacularly before they succeeded. He took notes on his phone, stopping every few minutes to breathe in the cold air and remind himself that moving forward, even slowly, still counted. Most mornings he passed the same cracked mile marker and the same graffiti-covered wall. One day, someone had spray-painted words in uneven letters. "Keep going." Daniel laughed out loud, the sound echoing into the trees. It felt like the wall was talking to him. At work, he kept his head down. He did the job well. Too well, some said. "You're overqualified," a supervisor joked. Daniel smiled. He had learned that arguing with labels wasted energy better spent elsewhere. After his shift, he studied. Online courses, free tutorials, old textbooks bought for a few dollars. He rebuilt his skills piece by piece, often fighting the exhaustion that pressed behind his eyes. Some nights, he stared at the screen and wondered who he was doing this for. No one was watching. No one was cheering. That was the hardest part, not the work, but the invisibility. Months passed. Then a year. The road changed with the seasons. Frost turned to dust. Leaves fell and returned. Daniel's pace quickened. His notes grew more confident. He applied to jobs again, carefully this time, tailoring each application like it mattered, because it did. Rejections still came, some polite, some silent. A few interviews ended with encouraging smiles and no follow-up. Each time, Daniel felt the old weight settle on his chest. Each time, he went back to the road the next morning. One dawn, as he approached the chain-link fence, he noticed an older woman walking toward him with a dog. They nodded in passing. The next week, they exchanged a good morning. Weeks later, a short conversation. She told him she walked there because it reminded her of starting over after her husband died. "Nobody sees you out here," she said gently. "But that doesn't mean it doesn't matter." Those words stayed with him. Then one Tuesday afternoon, an email arrived. A small startup needed a contract engineer, short-term, modest pay, real work. Daniel reread the message 3 times before replying. The interview was practical, no fluff. 2 days later, he got the offer. It wasn't a miracle. It wasn't a headline. But it was a door. Daniel kept walking the road even after his schedule changed. He liked the quiet. He liked remembering where he'd been. As the contract turned into a full-time role, his life slowly filled with things he'd once thought were gone for good. Stability, confidence, a sense of direction. One morning, he noticed fresh paint on the old wall. Someone had added a line beneath the original message. "Someone is." Daniel stopped. He looked down the empty road, the sky lightening with sunrise. He understood then that perseverance isn't about being seen. It's about choosing to move when no one is watching. About trusting that the road, however lonely, is still taking you somewhere. Most people would never walk that road, and that was okay. It was never meant for everyone.